Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
How to grow and keep clients that pay, stay, and refer. I can imagine as a coach, consultant, or small to medium business, your goal is to generate as many clients as you can so that you can help them be, do, and have a happier existence or whatever your offers are. And client development is what you actually do to develop these clients, and one of the most important practices that any coach or consultant can be doing. I can imagine you just want to have a string of clients that already know who you are, that already trust you, that already want to buy from you, or tripling, stumbling, and falling at whatever offers that you are putting out there. But I'm here to tell you that you have to create that, because the ultimate holy grail of why I even exist as a digital marketer is to help you convert any cold traffic that comes to your website into clients that pay, stay, and refer. And we need to do that on a consistent basis without you being even involved. So in my role as a digital agency, we speak to a lot of people and coaches, consultants, and small to medium businesses. And one thing they come to us is, how do I get more leads? How do I grow my business? How do I get more money? How do I get more time and freedom? And obviously, you might be questioning the same things. I'm here to tell you that if you develop your systems so that you're generating leads on a consistent basis so that you don't have to worry about where your next lead is going to come from, you, my friend, will have a business that's profitable and enjoyable. And I can imagine right now, maybe, and I've got so much empathy for everybody who's trying to do this, because most coaches and consultants that I end up working with used to have a corporate job somewhere, and they never had to worry about where the leads were generated from. All they just did was show up to work, and the work was already done, and they were paid stat. No questions asked, okay? As long as they performed, they got paid. And when you got to start your own business, you started to realize that you had to be the janitor, you had to be the appointment setter, you had to be the salesperson, you had to be the closer, you had to be the person who washes the dishes after all is said and done. And everything just all falls on you, and you gotta wear all these hats, and you start maybe relying on cold calling, or maybe sending out hundreds of emails, and maybe wasting thousands of ad spend while you're not even generating any qualified leads. And it all just seems like you're chasing your tail over and over and over again. And especially if we're talking about right now, right this moment where I'm at right now, we're in the middle of a pandemic, even if it's finished, but the aftermath is still coming through. Client development may be tough. Why? Because everyone is just trying to save whatever little dollar that they might have, or whatever little penny they might have. So it's very tough for us to be putting our consulting, our training, our information, or any expertise out there. And forget about paid speaking gigs, because what stage would you be speaking to when everybody's socially distancing, all right? And you're faced with a challenge where you need to be bringing in new business in order to keep your business running, right? So you probably, like I said, cold calling potential clients and having them hang up in your face. You know why? Because everybody's going through stuff right now. You're probably sending out hundreds of emails without getting as much as, hey, thank you so much for reaching out. You know why? Because people are not even opening their email in their mailboxes because they don't want to see all the bills and all the reminder letters that are coming through, and let alone you bringing in your offers. They don't want to hear about it right now. Everyone is in survival mode. And then maybe you might think, okay, what's the best way for me to generate leads? Let me put some money into ads, and you start wasting thousands and thousands of dollars on ad spend without even generating any qualified leads. I kid you not. This very morning, I spoke to, a potential client who told me that they just want to cancel their arrangement they have with another agency who's charging them so much money, and they're getting no return, in the spend that they're putting out there, and they're just being held hostage based on a contract that they signed at a time when, things were A-okay, and it's not the same anymore. And as a coach or consultant, you might just feel like nobody wants to buy what it is that you're selling. And when you actually rely on your business to put to put food on the table, if you can find food, especially these days with all these shortages and everything else, oh my God, you might be thinking, Prosper, why are you being negative on your podcast today? Let me tell you something. We are going through stuff, and this time might be the toughest time for you to be, creating a business that's profitable and enjoyable. But I'm here to tell you that all of this can literally be rectified, even if your clients have minimized their budgets, even if there's market downturns, even if there's impending lockdowns. You, my friend, will be in a position to generate hundreds of qualified leads like clockwork if you use any of our strategies. And you won't even have to rely on any cold calling or emailing just to beg clients to hire you. All right. We are experts at client development. This podcast in and of itself is an offering that we're giving value out there. And at the end of the day, we don't seem to be having the same problems that our clients are having out there, where they can't even maybe put food on their tables and keep their doors open for their business. So I'm here to talk to you about client development and how you can literally win, grow, and keep clients for life while you're developing the relationships that actually matter for your client success. So by the end of this podcast, I'm hoping that you'd have an understanding of how to become an expert in client development and how you can actually keep your sales pipeline full and create diverse recurring revenue streams that can skyrocket the profitability and ensure that your business remains 100% bulletproof, even during market downturns, even during global pandemics, and even during sweeping lockdowns. Okay. If you jump onto episode number 31, because this is episode number 32 of season 4, by the way, we've come a long way, my Internet Explorer. I was talking about, how to stay alive, especially in these pandemic days, because there's just so much that is coming into the marketplace all at once, and it just really needs you to stand strong, sell more, be there for your clients, and give value, because like I keep repeating, we get paid in direct proportion to the value that we bring to the marketplace. So the one thing that you want to do is really establish sales confidence within your business, and this has to be done automatically, but it all starts with your mindset. Okay, so I was talking to a client earlier today, and I was like, you know what, most of our sales process is done automatically behind the scenes using email marketing. And she was like, oh, I don't want to be that person that sends a lot of emails. And I stopped her right there, breaking her pattern. For those that are familiar with NLP, I know you're coaches and consultants, you understand what I'm saying. And I told her, you are not your customer. You are not the person who's going to end up paying you. You're actually stealing from yourself. So you can't have a say in how your customer ends up working with you, because people need to know you, like you, and trust you. So it all starts with your mindset. And what does it actually mean to become proficient in client development? Okay, because somebody might be asking, how do I actually get around getting people to know who I am and buy from me consistently, while they're also telling their family, their friends, their colleagues at a barbecue, or even strangers on a bus about how awesome the products are. And this is when you need to subscribe to this podcast, because I tell you, stuff like this you won't find anywhere else. Okay, so you might be asking, at what point can your maybe client development skills create tremendous value for your coaching business or your consulting business? All right. You should have a goal, when you're developing clients within your business to stay afloat. You need to get 10 to 20% more leads than you can handle at any given moment. All right. So if you can handle maybe 3 or 4 clients a month, you need to be pretty much making sure that you're getting 30 to 40 leads coming in at any given time. All right. That way, that's where the magic happens. And once you can do that, you can now start to pick and choose who you can work with. And it actually no longer starts that whole consulting, hunger or famine, cycles that a lot of people go through. Actually, it's called feast or famine cycles that people go through. Okay. When you've got more leads than you can handle, you can literally turn down the lowest value leads. There's usually people that pay late, that don't show up on time on meetings. And when you want stuff from them, they don't even give you full access. They're very they've got a scarcity mindset. You don't want to work with people like that. Leave them to the other scarcity consultants that equally at the same wavelength as them. And you want to focus only on your highest value leads. All right. You want to only focus on people that pay on time, that value the work that you're doing, that pay, stay, and refer. And wouldn't that be nice when you wake up every single day and you're working with people that you absolutely love, people that you want to get results for, people that you can't wait, to share a drink with and high five each other based on the work that you're doing for them. Okay. And guess what? Once you start working with people like that, you actually gain the courage to stand firm on your feet, because you know these people value your work. You know these people appreciate the value that you bring to the marketplace, and you can charge what you're actually worth. So many people are going out of business because they're undercharging themselves. I mean, I'm guilty of that, because I came from a place where I just wanted to get whatever customers I could at that time. But later on, I noticed that the people that don't usually pay, they don't respect the work that you're doing. They don't respect the time that you put in, because it's nothing to them. But if somebody pays, they pay attention. All right. If somebody's paying a lot of money, they really are looking to see whether they get the full result and the full effect of the money that they're paying. All right. So once you are charging what you're worth, guess what happens? You can easily invest into your business and your thought leadership. If you look behind me, I've got tons and tons and tons of books, like literally tons and tons of books. And I'm never out of something new to learn, okay? I'm never out of some concept that I can grasp based on the fact that each book that is still on the shelf there represents some piece of knowledge that I still haven't grasped, okay? Not only does that humble me, but it actually allows me to show up on this podcast every single day. Just because even in the process of me doing work to get more clients, I'm actually energizing myself. I'm motivating myself. I'm actually learning so that I can be of more value to people that come to me, in the future. Because maybe you show up today and I'm like a one-trick pony. What value am I going to be to you if I don't constantly educate myself and, invest in my own thought leadership? Because if you've got investment in your business and investment in your own thought leadership, these are two of the best long-term strategies for your own growth. You no longer have to worry about where your clients are coming from, because the ones that you already have are staying because of the tremendous amount of value that you're bringing to the marketplace, making their lives better, making, them, have businesses that are profitable and actually enjoyable. All right. There's a saying that says that a bird is not worried about the branch that it's stepping on, even if it's a brittle branch or something that's about to fall, because it is fully confident of the wings that it has. Okay. So whenever the branch breaks, the bird can take flight. So if you invest in yourself and you invest in your thought leadership, whenever market downturn comes in, any global pandemic or any sweeping lockdown, if you've got relationships that you've created with your clients, you become bulletproof, my friend. Okay, and once you know nothing can even touch you, even if the whole economy crumbles, you will still have people that are waiting in line to work with you. You start to begin to radiate some newly found confidence. All right, and it starts creating a feedback loop that actually makes you believe in yourself and your services, which your clients will feel. Because if you're confident in what you're doing, obviously your client will definitely want more of that. Can you imagine if you're a surgeon and you're doing a heart surgery and then something starts happening, the machines start beeping, and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. Even somebody who's sedated, who's undergoing the surgery, would be like, oh, can you get me somebody who knows what they're doing right now? I don't want somebody who's got shaky hands, or holding a scalpel above my heart. Okay? So people are not going to want you walking around with your dirty feet or your shaky hands on their websites, on their content, on their life, on their health, on their wealth, on their relationships. Okay, so once you start feeling confident within yourself, you exude confidence that your customers will definitely buy into. But first of all, you must sell to the most important buyer, who happens to be yourself. Once you have confidence in what you're doing, you definitely can usher whatever service that you might be offering to your customers, all right? Because you have to make that first sale to yourself. You have to believe that you've got something great and valuable to offer your clients. Because if you don't feel like you've got something great to offer your clients, when they close the door on you, you'll be like, oh, maybe they didn't want what I have. But if you know that what you have is going to change people's lives, what you have is going to change people's health, what you have is going to change people's wealth, what you have is going to change their relationships so that they have a happier existence, you put the foot in the door and be telling them that it's going to cost you not to work with me. And once you can put yourself in that vantage position, you, my friend, would have bulletproofed yourself against anything. You would have actually inoculated yourself against any impending things that might, want to disrupt you. All right. And you're really going to be helping people, because if you can help your clients by actually helping them, they will defend your existence. And that is a fundamental idea, my friend. Okay. And see, so how you think about developing your clients and making sure that you consistently have that 10 to 20% more than you can handle plays a big role, and it actually affects your results. Okay. Some people might be thinking, oh, maybe this is not exactly how it actually works. There's some misconceptions that people have. And I want to ask you if you actually think like this, or if maybe things like this sound familiar to you, that some people feel like business development is different from project delivery. Let me tell you something. That's wrong. Project delivery is the actual marketing. How you do anything is how you do everything. All right. And how you serve your client is how they are going to sit around and start talking to their friends and family, and then get that proverbial word of mouth. Think about what you're doing when you're delivering an engagement, a phone call, or just at a networking event. Okay. You're building key relationships. All right. You're leaning where, you're leaning into your personality. People do business with other people. All right. You're learning how you can add more value, because we get paid in direct proportion to the value that we bring to the marketplace. And it's the most natural time for you to build that trust that people need to do business with, because people do business with those they know, like, and trust. And you get to learn about your client's business, and then you plant the seeds for new opportunities. So when you are doing the project delivery, if you get an opportunity to actually handle somebody's work, handle somebody's health, handle somebody's wealth, handle somebody's relationship as a coach, consultant, or a small to medium business, how you do anything is how you do everything. All right. So don't go about crying and saying, oh, I'm not getting enough clients, when You are basically, forgetting your clients as soon as you close the deal with them. That's a big misconception that a lot of people have, that once somebody is your client and you've signed a contract with them, they're not going to go away anywhere. They will find a way, a loophole within that contract to swindle themselves out of it. And they will not stop telling anybody who has got time to listen about, the service that they've received from you. You want to be delivering outstanding results for your clients so you can win their loyalty for life. That in and of itself is marketing. Because how are people going to know and write a good review about the work that you're putting out there if you are not delivering a good service? Customers will definitely sing your praises to their family, to their friends, to their colleagues at a barbecue, even strangers on the bus. How you do everything is how you do anything. How you do anything is how you do everything. So you want to plant the seeds of opportunities based on the fact that how are you handling this person's work? And one other thing is consultants are chosen based on rational thinking. So you think if you can build a story, or if you think if you can build a claim or whatever reputation that you think you have, because a lot of consultants have that whole alphabet soup, based on what they've done and whatever qualifications that they have. People don't think like that. What's in it for them? What are they going to be learning from you? Yes, you might be a M.E.D.I.A, whatever three-letter alphabet soup that you decided to add on your Facebook today. That don't impress me much. Consultants are not based on rational thinking. That's a very false way of living, because clients base their decisions heavily on emotional factors. And they justify their choices, obviously, based on rationality. So if you want to appeal to the emotions, you get to know your client's personal agenda. Like yesterday, I was laughing with one of my fellow digital marketing friends when we were talking about this lady who is a she calls herself a divorce coach, but yet she's inviting people to a masterclass. Okay, so I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. If somebody's going through a divorce, that's a very private issue that they don't want a masterclass to sit around and wallow in their problems. If somebody's going through some sort of a divorce, they don't want an audience around what they're going through and the problems they're facing and whatever incompetencies either their previous partner has or whatever it is. It's a private endeavor. Okay, so if you're going to be selling a masterclass as a divorce coach, then you've already lost half of your clientele, because they're going through a private experience that doesn't need an audience. So if you're going to be selling an audience around what it is that they're going through, do you think they're going to subscribe to anything that you're doing? So many people are disconnected to their actual clientele base. Okay, so if you're going to be, choosing a masterclass or a webinar as part of the experience that you want people that are going through a divorce, of course they're not going to attend. So if you want to appeal to the emotions, get to know your client's personal agenda. They want to get through this as amicably as possible. Not just your business agenda. Yes, you want to have as many clients as possible, but your clients don't want their dirty laundry aired in front of a lot of people. Get with the program, yo. So how can you help them in advance, of knowing exactly what situation they're in? How can you help them with their health? How can you help them with their wealth? How can you help them with their relationships? How can you help them improve their day-to-day life? How can you help them facilitate and grow maybe their network? How can you help them learn? Of course, your clients want to cut costs and grow revenue, but focus more on them personally, all right? They're more likely to choose you if you have an innate understanding of what they're actually going through as a human being. And once you appeal to that, the rest makes way for whatever it is that you're offering later on. Capiche? And there's also one other thing that a lot of coaches and consultants have. They have a big angst around selling. I don't want my client to think that I'm selling to them. Let me tell you something. People like buying stuff, but they don't like being sold to. So if you're worried that your client is going to think that you're selling, then you haven't developed enough trust with them yet. Okay, because if you give people enough value, guess what? They're gonna seek you out so that you keep helping them with whatever information that you're putting out there. Because if you feel guilty about selling, then you haven't given enough value. Because if you've given somebody enough value so much that they can change their lives just based on a podcast that you put out there, you've built that trust, you've built that next move that they need in their life. It's only natural that they would want to reciprocate, and the only way you can make them feel any better as a human and confident with what they are doing with their life is to pay you. That's the only way that you can get them to release that innate human desire to reciprocate any value that is given towards them. Because if you don't give people that opportunity, then you're just like inflating a balloon. And what happens? The balloon just goes and it ends up somewhere else where you're not going to find it. Because once a certain amount of trust has been established, clients know that you're being sincere when you make them an offer. They know that that's the next logical step. If you give value upfront, you've educated your audience, you've made them aware of who you are and positioned them, the next thing that you would want to do is, okay, for maybe $9.99 you can actually get this book. For $25.45 you can get an hour with me. For $300 you can get a masterclass. Whatever it is, I'm not saying you should sell yourself that cheap, but we get paid in direct proportion to the value that we bring to the marketplace. If you have established and developed enough trust with your clients, they will be more than happy to support your work, and the only way they know how is to give you a credit card. So if you're afraid of selling, develop more trust, okay? And actually give value up front so that people will actually come and knock on your house's door by themselves and say, hey, thank you so much for what you have done. Here, go buy yourself a new microphone or something like that. I just wanted to thank you. All right? And the last thing that a lot of people that are not doing out there is they think they don't have enough time. If you walk around all coaches and consultants that I speak to, if you ask them what is the one thing that they actually want in their life, number one is they want more time. And number two is they want more money. But let me tell you the thing about those two concepts. If you don't have time, you better have the money. And if you don't have money, you better have the time. All right? So you're always out there seeking for new business. You're always making sure that you're serving your clients right and delivering outstanding results consistently. And any service that you put out there has to be world class. So much that if your clients have come from somewhere else, they'll be like, oh my God, why did we waste our time with all those other snake oil sales people out there? You're always going to be doing client development, no matter where you are. Whether you realize it or not, you have enough time to create work that matters for people who care. You have enough time to generate leads. You have enough time to make sure that people that are paying you are happy with the service that they're receiving from you. You have enough time. You're probably just not approaching it the right way. You're probably not just giving enough value. What are you spending your time doing anyway? And half of the time, some people think, okay, all those things that you were talking about, it's just not me. That's just not in me. I'm going to hire somebody that can do it for me. And I'll just be sitting over here, sitting and drinking a pina colada and enjoying my life. Wrong. If you want to be great at client development and creating a business that's profitable and enjoyable, you need to show up for your clients because they need to know who is going to be helping them do and have a happier existence. You don't need to be a natural extrovert full of confidence. Like right now, I'm just speaking to a microphone in my office. There's no audience, okay? Yes, I know you're going to be listening to this a little bit later on, but let me tell you something. It's just me and my computer and my microphone. No audience. And I'm giving out a value. You don't necessarily have to be shy, to do stuff on your own. You already do anyway. We're not going to say this just in case you're listening with your kids. You already are doing all that stuff by yourself anyway, sometimes with an audience, and you think no one is watching. Instead, by practicing certain habits, like showing up like I do, I scheduled this, podcast, and that's why it's consistent. I scheduled it to make sure that I deliver a podcast every single day at 12 p.m. Come what may. If I'm not doing anything, nobody can schedule a time in my calendar at 12 p.m. because it's completely blocked. So instead of telling yourself you don't have time, start creating the habits that you want in order for you to perpetuate your business. I mean, you can practice and learn how to be a master at developing new business by networking a lot more, by creating, amplifying whatever it is that you're already doing. There is no point for you to be struggling, especially as a consultant, because our businesses were built for the pandemic. Our businesses were built for market downturns. Our businesses were built for lockdowns, because you don't necessarily have to go anywhere. You can zoom it out so you can win, you can grow, you can keep clients for life. Clients that pay, stay, and refer. All you got to do is apply yourself, and in the process, just develop relationships that matter to your career success. Let me tell you something, man. Client development is what you do to develop clients. How you do anything is how you do anything is how you do everything. And it's one of the most important practices of your, consulting business. Okay. So if you're just listening to this and thinking, maybe, I might need a bit more information around this, I've got a question for you. What are you actually doing for your coaching or your consulting practice to develop more leads in your business? What is not working in your business right now? So if you can just reply to the email that came with this podcast so that I can get an understanding, maybe there might be something new that I might learn. But if there's something that you want, help with, just reach out. We're always here. Okay. And try and listen and subscribe to this podcast so that you can literally learn things that are not in the mainstream, so that you, my friend, even during this pandemic, you would not be one of those people that is going to shut shop just because, things are tough. All right. You need to consistently be bringing in new business to keep your business running. All right. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au